Hey everyone, it's Ben, and today I have a brand new light from Klarus. This is the XT11S. It's probably the most tactical light that I've ever reviewed on the channel, so you're not going to want to miss it. Stick with me. You're watching Living Survival. So today we have the Klarus XT11S. This is actually a fantastic light. Klarus is new to the channel. This is the first light that I will be reviewing from them. I do have one of their chargers and I really like that, so I was excited to take a look at their light. So the XT11S is capable of pumping out 1100 lumens. It's got the new XPL High V3 LED that I've been very happy with in several other lights that I've reviewed with that LED. It's got a very nice smooth reflector. You can see the XPL High LED down in there. It's got this strike bezel. Again, it's a very tactical light. It's actually got 3 different modes that we're going to go over in a moment. It's capable of putting light out to 330 meters, so we're certainly going to test that as well. It takes a single 18650 battery, and it is capable of USB recharging via micro USB, so that's nice as well. It's got a side mode switch, and then something definitely different for this light, it's got 2 clicky switches on the tail cap. Anti-roll bezel, some very nice knurling there. It's got a nice pocket clip as well, and then a weapon mounting ring mounted on here that is removable. You can attach a lanyard to it. It will tail stand, so that's nice. And it is, of course, IPX8 waterproof and impact resistant. Now this might seem like just another typical flashlight, as it did to me when I was watching other reviews, but since getting my hand on it, there is a lot to this light. It comes with a holster, a very nice holster, very nice nylon holster with a D-ring on the back. It's even got a snap retention belt strap here, which I really like. That means you don't have to take your belt off to loop it through there, so I find that nice. It also comes with a lanyard and O-ring, pretty typical stuff for other flashlights that are reviewed. And then again, it is USB rechargeable, so it comes with a micro USB cable. So the differences are really in the light itself. It's a pretty unique light when it comes to flashlights. It's got 3 different user customizable modes, which are a conventional tactical mode. It's got a hunting or outdoor mode, and then it's got an ultimate tactical mode. So overall, I think this is a really good tactical flashlight. It'd be great for mounting on like a shotgun or a rifle, for example. It'd also be great for law enforcement. It's got that strike bezel, so it is a defensive light as well. As I mentioned, it does tail stand. Now, it does take an 18650, and it does actually come with the 18650, so that's nice. They give you a 2600 milliamp. Now I want you to look at something in particular that's different about this light. There's actually 2 springs, and this is the first time that I've seen this, again, lending itself to being a great tactical light. There's a spring on the tail cap and then another inside the tube there. Now what that's going to do is it's actually going to let that battery float a little bit, and it's supposed to do better with the shock from being mounted to a weapon. So I think that's pretty cool. Now the other thing that's really different about this light is the tail cap itself. You notice it has 2 clicky switches here. It's got your conventional, conventional clicky switch here, but it's also got this momentary switch, which is sort of wide and sticks off to the side. What this is great for is it's great for when using gloves. Sometimes you can't get the dexterity in your thumb in a glove to be able to press that button. So it is nice to be able to have the use of that side button, and there's a whole lot you can do with it in combination with the other buttons in the special modes on this light. So the modes are definitely going to be the most confusing thing on this flashlight. Now I watched some other reviews, as I said, and they didn't even go through the modes, so I'm going to attempt to do that for you. It ships in the conventional tactical mode. There's 3 different modes that you can put it in. So in the conventional tactical mode, you basically have instant access to your turbo, instant access to your strobe, and then you can use the side mode button to switch through your modes. So if you momentary the main tail clicker here, that's going to give you instant access to the turbo, and then if you momentary the thumb button here, you'll get instant access to your strobe. So 2 handy tactical modes there. So in this mode, you use the side switch here to go through your brightness levels, and then you can also access your special modes. Double click, that'll get you to strobe, and then you can either double click from strobe So we get into strobe, double click again, that'll put us into SOS mode, or you can also just quadruple click from any other mode. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's going to put us into our SOS as well, handy for our signaling. Otherwise, like I said, it just steps through your different brightness levels. I should mention that the brightness levels are turbo at 1100 lumens, high, which is 400 lumens, medium, which is 100 lumens, and then low, which is 10 lumens. Now, once the light's on, you can also step through these modes using the thumb switch. So again, several different ways to operate the light. So let's look at the two other user modes here, and to get into those modes you have to hold down the side switch for 10 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It's going to flash a couple times throughout this process, and I'll let you know why it does that in a moment, but basically you want to wait till it flickers just like that, and then we're going to hold down the thumb switch or depress the thumb switch, and it's going to blink several times. Now you notice it blinked twice there. That means we're in mode 2. If we were to do it again, it would blink 3 times, then back to 1 time. So mode 2 is your outdoor or your hunting mode. This is probably going to be your most similar to lights that you're familiar with. You have your momentary to your high, you have your momentary to your low, and then once the light's on, you can use the thumb switch to cycle through your modes, or you can use the side switch to cycle through your modes. So pretty similar to the previous mode, except your 2 rear buttons do high and low instead of high and turbo. So let's go into the third and final mode. This is the ultimate tactical mode. Again, we're going to hold down the side button here until we see it flicker. Again, it takes 10 seconds. So we'll wait for that to happen. There we go. And then we're going to depress the thumb switch, and you're going to see it blink 3 times. So then we know we're into our ultimate tactical mode. Now in this mode, the side button is disabled, so you can't use that at all. This would be probably the best for mounting on a weapon, or if the 2 modes that you need are just strobe and turbo, which is pretty much for tactical use only. So again, you have your momentary to your turbo, and you have your momentary to your strobe. So very similar to the conventional tactical mode, which was mode number 1, except you don't have any sort of mode stepping with your side switch here. Everything has to be done from these 2 buttons, and you don't have any other modes except for your strobe and your turbo. For everyday use, you're probably going to just use modes 1 or 2 unless you have it mounted to a weapon. Then you're probably going to use 3. Like I said, for everyday use, probably modes 1 or 2, and you just would have to decide whether or not you want high, low, or high turbo as your 2 momentary functions. But it's cool that it does give you 2 momentary functions. Now it does seem like a lot, but once you get used to it, as with anything else, it becomes pretty handy and pretty cool indeed. So one other thing we can do with the side mode button here is we can hold it down for 5 seconds, and that's going to lock it out. Handy for putting it in a pack or in a pocket. For example, you see we got 2 flashes there after 5 seconds, so that blocks out the side switch on the light. You can actually still use the tail switches, but it locks out the side switch. Now to re-enable the side switch, you just, I believe, triple click it, and it will unlock the light. Now that's particularly handy on this light because you can't unscrew the tail cap to lock out the light because of the 2 springs in there. It actually will not lose contact until the tail cap actually pops all the way off. So if you wanted to lock the light for whatever reason, you would have to use that lock function, and it's nice that they did put that on there. So you may have noticed the LED that's in the side switch here. What that is it's a battery level indicator. When you turn the light on, it's going to be a certain color. Green means that it's 70 to 100% charged. If it were orange, it'd be 30 to 70% charged, and then when it's red, it's less than 30%, and you're probably going to want to charge the battery. So that's a pretty cool feature that they put on there as well. Charging the light is just as simple as any other USB flashlight. You simply remove the water slash dust cover here, plug in your USB cable, and then you're going to get a charge status indicator on this as well. Again, it's going to follow the same format. It's going to go from red to green and let you know when it's fully charged. It of course will turn green. You can use battery banks, solar panels, or of course plug this directly into a computer or a wall outlet to charge it. So I've also reviewed several other lights that have the XPL high LED, one being this brand new Nitecore MH20 GT, which is probably the most similar, although it doesn't really look like it. They both take 18650. MH20 GT is of course a little bit shorter light. No tail cap on this one, simply operates via the side switch. It is USB rechargeable, so this is the one that I grabbed to sort of compare it with. I know I've seen some comments before that say, hey, you know, would you please kind of compare it to another light so we have sort of a baseline. If you don't own any of these lights, it's not really going to help you out. But I did want to grab a light that sort of compares in brightness and functionality. Of course, the MH20 GT, in my opinion, is a lot easier to use. It doesn't have the special functions in there, but it also doesn't have things like that double spring in there, so probably not going to work as well mounted on a weapon. As I said, they both do take the XPL high V3. You get a 330 meter beam distance with the Klarus and a 362 meter beam distance with the Nitecore. So again, with that brighter intensity, you're going to get a little bit longer distance, and we'll see if that's true or not in our nighttime testing. So as far as mode spacing goes, they're pretty similar as well. We have a high on the Nitecore of 1000 lumens, a high on the Klarus of 1100. Then the Klarus steps down to 400, the Nitecore to 410, Klarus down to 100, the Nitecore down to 230, and then low mode on the Klarus is again 10 lumens. Low modes on the Nitecore are 50 and then 1 lumen. So a little bit better mode spacing in my opinion on the Nitecore than the Klarus. We can do a quick comparison of both reflectors. They are pretty much the same size. Diameter, even though the bezel on the Klarus is a little bit wider. You can see you got a lower profile bezel there on the Nitecore. But as far as the depth of the reflector goes, they look pretty similar to me and pretty similar in diameter as well. So let's take a look at some wall shots. We have the Klarus on the left and the Nitecore on the right. Of course, the Klarus's lowest mode is 10 and the lowest mode on the Nitecore is 1. So pretty big difference there in the mode spacing. We can step it up one notch to 100 lumens on the Klarus, and this is 50 lumens on the Nitecore. The Nitecore has a little bit of a yellowish in the center of the beam, whereas the Klarus looks pretty uniform all the way around, but otherwise pretty similar in brightness there. Not too much difference between 50 and 100 lumens. Now we're going to skip a mode on the Nitecore since it has a 200-ish lumen mode and the Klarus doesn't. So we're going to step it up to 400 on the Klarus and 410 on the Nitecore. Very, very similar. Again, the Nitecore has a little bit of a yellowish spot on the inside of the beam, whereas the Klarus is pretty much the same throughout the entire beam, but very similar patterns there, as you can see. So then we'll step up to the highest mode. This is 1000 on the Nitecore and 1100 on the Klarus. I can tell from just looking at the wall, I'm not sure how well it translates onto the camera, that the Klarus is just a tad bit brighter, and overall I think it has just a little bit better beam than the Nitecore. So we have 10 lumens here. We can step it up one more notch here to the medium, and then we can just start to make out the tree line over there. Come to some trees a little bit closer, and then some trees that are a little bit farther off. Can't really recognize anything in the trees, but it does make it that far. Step up one more into the high, and you can see it has a very nice beam. I really like the beam on this flashlight a lot. Can start to make out things that are in the woods over there, about 75 yards away, and then we can go into our turbo, and it is super bright right in front, and then we can easily get over to those trees, and we can get over to the right here, which is 200 yards or so away. So very nice beam pattern, one of the nicest that I've had in a flashlight. So I moved the camera. We're shining at about the flashlight's max here over on those trees. Again, can just make out the trees. Couldn't really see anything in the trees. I believe its max is just over 300 meters, so it definitely reaches out, and again has a great beam pattern. So we'll throw the Nitecore out there as well. On the left is the Klarus, on the right is the Nitecore. You can see that they're nearly identical. The Klarus does light up the trees just a little bit better, but not by much. We're talking a difference of 100 lumens. Both have very nice beams. Both are very nice lights. So what are my thoughts on the Klarus XT11S? Well, I think it's a fantastic light as far as build quality goes. It doesn't get much better. It's well constructed. I like the fact that it's got the dual springs in there for a little bit better shock resistance when mounting to a weapon, for example. And that's probably what you would buy this light for, as the ultimate tactical light, having the two buttons on the tail cap there and having all the different customizable modes that you can put it in. I do like that it's USB rechargeable, and I like that you get the status indicator there. Very simple to look at. Just a red, an orange, and a green. Doesn't get much simpler than that. The modes are quite confusing at first, and as far as mode spacing goes, I would like to see a lower low than 10 lumens on this light. But overall, if you can handle all the different modes that you can put it in and pick one that you like, then you don't have to change it after that. And just like any other flashlight, you can get used to the modes that you're using. Just like most of the other lights that I've reviewed with the new XPL High V3 LED, it's gonna run you about 80 bucks unless you get it at GearBest. I'm gonna put a link below to their website and also a coupon code where you can get it for much less than that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I tried to be pretty detailed with this light since it is a pretty detailed light overall, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Please give it a big thumbs up for me. Leave me some comments below. Be sure to share this video to your friends and family who might be interested on social media. You can follow me on my social media as well. As always, guys, if you haven't already done so, and for a lot more great videos, please click that red subscribe button. Subscribe for more videos.